My name is Craig Ballinger. I am the MP&E inspector.
Craig is checking the handbrake chain for tightness, which will let him know if the handbrake is being applied. Yes, it is. Using a flashlight, Craig is looking under the locomotive for loose bolts, missing cotter pins, and other components that may be missing or broken. Now Craig points out an air valve that is not locked in either the open or closed position. That needs to be corrected. In the front of the locomotive, Craig is checking to verify that the knuckle is operative and that all air hoses are in place. Craig is measuring the height of the pilot or snowplow and assuring proper clearance from the ground. Proper boarding the locomotive requires using the three-point contact rule. 2 hands and a foot, making contact with the handrails and the step at all times. Inside the cab, Craig is checking for loose or broken controls and for the correct labeling of all the various controls. Walking on the outside walkway, Craig is checking for secured hand railings and to make sure there is no slip or trip hazards on the walkway, such as debris, oil, or diesel fuel. And Craig completes his inspection by looking at the inside of the long hood for any fuel, water, oil, or exhaust leaks.
My name is Jeffrey McCormick, and I'm the Hazmat Inspector for the Safety Division of the Arizona Corporation Commission.
Jeff first examines the qualification stencil to ensure the tank car is currently qualified to transport hazardous materials. He then checks to ensure the required placards and markings are present and that the car is equipped with required top and bottom couplers. These couplers are required on tank cars by law and help reduce damage to adjacent tank cars in the event of a derailment. After Jeff has completed the ground level inspection, a top level inspection is performed. Let's climb aboard. Jeff is checking to see that all fasteners and closures are inspected for tool tightness. The pressure relief safety device is checked to ensure that it hasn't been fouled by debris. Next, Jeff removes the shipper security seals and the protective housing is opened to check the valves and fittings. When Jeff has completed his inspection, he notes the serial numbers of the replacement seals and applies them to resecure the openings. The new seal numbers will be provided to the railroad and to the customer.
Hi, my name is Joe Pinkerman. I work as a state operating practices inspector.
Joe is pointing out the blue flag, which is displayed for the protection of employees fouling the track. The blue flag is in the correct location and is the correct distance from the equipment. Joe confirms that the derail is properly secured with lock-in hasp and fastened. He is checking to see that the locomotive was left standing in the clear. This is indicated by the clearance marks painted on the rails. Now Joe is making sure the switch is properly lined and locked to prevent movement into the track that's being protected. He is checking the handbrake chain for tightness. This indicates the handbrake was properly applied to prevent any movement of the locomotive. And finally, Joe is observing crews performing switching operations. He's also verifying the proper shoving of cars and checking to see if the crew is properly riding on equipment.
My name is Joe Peralta. I'm the Arizona Corporation Commission track inspector.
Joe is checking the connecting rod for lost motion and to confirm that the connecting rod bolt is equipped with a cotter pin. Next, Joe verifies that the switch point fits properly against the stock rail. Now he's checking the transit clip bolts for tightness and making sure all necessary cotter pins are in place. Joe is also checking the switch rod bolts for tightness and making sure all cotter pins are present. Any bolt drilled for a cotter pin must have a cotter pin in place or else it is considered defective. As Joe walks along the switch, he is verifying that the stock rail is seated properly in the switch plates and that there are no cracks or breaks in the switch point or stock rail. As he continues walking along the switch, he checks for the condition of the ties, securement of gauge plates, and the condition of the rail. During the last part of the inspection, the switch is reversed and Joe measures for proper gauge between rails and then checks the condition of the guardrail and what's called the point of the frog.
Hi, my name is Chris Watson. I'm the grade crossing inspector as well as the assistant supervisor for the rail safety program.
Chris begins his inspection by verifying the proper signage such as advanced pavement markings, crossbucks, and signs indicating the number of tracks. Each crossing is measured for width. Then Chris checks the condition of the crossing surface and takes measurements of the crossing from all 4 quadrants. Railroad Safety Supervisor Brian Lehman checks the junction box to assure it's secured. The junction box must be locked to prevent entry by any unauthorized person. The cover of the gate mechanism must be secured as well. Next, the lenses and the light head are checked for cleanliness and for damage. Brian then inspects a bank of batteries for tightness of the connections and to confirm that the batteries are identified. Each wire terminal must be identified by an appropriate tag, and the wire must be tool tight on the terminal. Finally, Brian verifies that the crossing identification includes the street name, milepost number, and the Department of Transportation number. Also, he makes sure the 800 number is posted so people can report any emergencies or malfunctions at the crossing.
The mission of the Corporation Commission Safety Division's Pipeline Safety Section is to enforce federal and state pipeline safety regulations and to provide training and guidance to pipeline operators to ensure the safe operation of pipeline facilities in Arizona. The Pipeline Safety Section is also responsible for enforcing the Arizona Underground Facilities Law and to provide training to excavators to reduce damage to underground facilities and to eliminate personal injuries and death associated with those facilities. The Commission has jurisdiction over the intrastate transportation of both gas and hazardous liquids and oversees the construction, operation, and maintenance of those pipelines. Those lines that begin and end within Arizona's borders, such as those operated by Southwest Gas, Unisource, and various municipal systems. We conduct regular inspections of intrastate systems as well as specialized construction inspections. Under federal pipeline safety laws, the U.S. Department of Transportation, Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, PHMSA, has exclusive regulatory authority over interstate pipelines such as those operated by Kinder Morgan El Paso, Questar, and Transwestern. PHMSA is responsible for the oversight of all state pipeline safety programs and for the administration of the Pipeline Safety Grant Program that funds a large portion of every state's safety program. PHMSA's Office of Pipeline Safety has authorized the Arizona Corporation Commission through its Pipeline Safety Section to perform the required federal inspections and audits of interstate operators with facilities in Arizona. Arizona is one of only 9 states that has interstate agency status on interstate natural gas pipelines, one of only 5 states having interstate agency status on hazardous liquid pipelines, and one of only 4 states that has interstate agency status on both liquid and natural gas programs. We are responsible for almost 8,000 miles of gas transmission lines in Arizona and almost 35,000 miles of distribution lines serving 1.3 million customers in our state. In exchange for maintaining a pipeline safety program and for conducting inspections and audits of intrastate pipeline facilities, PHMSA is authorized to reimburse the Commission up to 80% of our actual costs for carrying out Arizona's pipeline safety program. Additionally, participating states must adopt all applicable federal pipeline safety regulations, but allows states to adopt more stringent regulations for intrastate operators. In 2014, PHMSA reimbursed the Commission more than $1.2 million, which reflects 72% of the cost of our pipeline safety program. Through our in-house training programs for staff, as well as for operators, combined with a strong enforcement policy consistently supported by the Commission, Arizona has long been recognized nationally as a leader in proactive regulatory enforcement, resulting in reduced damages and injuries related to pipeline incidents. Ensuring compliance with safety regulations involves regular inspections of pipeline operator programs and facilities, and when compliance violations are identified, the application of appropriate administrative, civil, or criminal remedies. No other state's program employs more highly trained pipeline inspectors than does Arizona. Inspection activity includes reviews of operation and maintenance manuals, integrity management plans, operator qualification plans, operational records, and field inspections. Another important challenge for the Commission is the regulation of master meter operators in Arizona. A master meter is one meter feeding two or more buildings other than a single-family, owner-occupied residence. This includes apartment complexes, mobile home parks, prisons, and schools. Master meter operators are not traditional gas suppliers or operators and are not necessarily as familiar with regulations and operating requirements as are major operators like Southwest Gas and Unisource. The Commission offers a comprehensive training program free to all such operators and their staff, and an equipment loan-out program to provide the operators with the equipment they need to maintain and test their systems as required by the regulations. This training program is unique to Arizona and provides operators the opportunity to acquire the knowledge, skills, and ability to conduct operations and to maintain their systems in accordance with safety regulations. The Commission's Pipeline Safety Section has been nationally recognized as one of the country's best and most effective programs. Our efforts are comprehensive and our dedicated professionals are experts in their field. Over the years, several of our inspectors have been tapped by PHMSA to provide pipeline safety training classes for federal and other state inspectors. The Commission's Pipeline Safety Program Manager, Robert Miller, currently serves as the chairman of the National Association of Pipeline Safety Regulators and sits on the Gas Pipeline Safety Subcommittee at NARUC. Pipeline safety requires dedication and diligence. The Commission and the safety professionals have plenty of both.